Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 78 of the Layton Fitness Podcast. Now, in today's episode, we'll be discussing benefits of tracking your food intake, the benefits of tracking your daily caloric intake and macronutrient intake, so protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So, firstly, let's really discuss the obvious benefits, and then we'll discuss some of the benefits that aren't so obvious but really make a dramatic difference to your results. And these are comments that some of my clients have made to me personally, so these are really things that aren't the most obvious, aren't the things you'd probably come off the top of your head, but really do make a dramatic difference, not just in terms of the short term but the long term, how you look at food in the future and how you can actually maintain your results over the long term. So firstly, let's discuss just the obvious benefits first, and within the context of building muscle or losing body fat, daily calorie and macronutrient targets really is the most important factor when it comes to nutrition. So what you hit by the end of the day in terms of your protein, carbohydrate, fat and calories really is the most important factor when it comes to building muscle or losing fat with regards to nutrition. Now, if you're an athlete, someone that trains twice per day, things like nutrient timing are very important, especially between session 1 and session 2, but I'm purely looking at the context of someone just training once per day who has goals of either building muscle or losing fat, and within that specific context, daily calorie and macronutrient targets really is the most important factor. And the simple reason for this is twofold. With regards to fat loss, we need to be in that energy deficit, so we need to be burning more calories than we're consuming, and as such, by consuming daily calorie and macronutrient targets which are suitable for your goals, suitable to create that energy deficit needed for fat loss, that is going to help you achieve your goals. On the flip side, if your goal is building muscle, we need to be in that caloric surplus. You need to be consuming more calories than you're burning, and as such, again, meeting those daily calorie and macronutrient targets suitable to achieving that specific target is going to make sure you're in that energy surplus suitable for building muscle. Now, here are some of the other nuances, some of the other benefits that people don't really talk about, but I can guarantee make a significant difference. And these are the comments that my clients make to me all of the time. The first big benefit is just having the knowledge to be able to interchange foods when you're away from home, potentially at work or on holiday, or just when you don't have your normal list of foods around. And this is one of the big positives for tracking calories and macronutrients in compared to the meal plan. The meal plan, the old school approach that people would use to get results, would be very restrictive. You'd have a small list of foods, you'd have meals that you'd have to consume every day. You're really boxed in because you can't really interchange these foods. In addition to that, you don't really have the knowledge to interchange foods. You're just blindly following this meal plan, but you don't have a clue what you're doing. Whereas actually tracking your calories and macronutrient intakes, one, it teaches you the absolute macronutrients in certain foods, but two, it really teaches you how to interchange foods. If you're away from home, you can interchange some of your proteins, carbohydrates, or fats. Whatever foods you have available, you can easily interchange these to meet your daily targets. Whereas if you're boxed into that meal plan, you don't have the knowledge to interchange protein, carbohydrates, and fats to meet those daily totals. I think that's such a big positive, and long term, moving forward, that really is such a important point, because this knowledge will serve you for the rest of your life. Knowing how to interchange protein, carbohydrates and fats to meet your daily calorie and macronutrient targets will help significantly. The other big positive is just this increased awareness of how calorically dense certain foods are. When you start tracking your food intake, when you start plugging certain foods into MyFitnessPal, which is a great app to track your food intake. However, I wouldn't necessarily use the daily targets that they provide you, because these are based on government guidelines which aren't really suitable for trained individuals, but that topic is for another podcast on its own. But having this increased awareness of how calorically dense certain foods are when you plug this into MyFitnessPal is a huge positive. I think people have this false understanding of how many calories are in certain foods, and often when you start tracking your foods that you thought were quote unquote healthy can sometimes actually be quite high in calories. It's not to say that you shouldn't have this, but this increased awareness allows you to have these in moderation. Now, the next big benefit is just this increased awareness of how many calories you were eating previously. You really understand that prior to tracking your food intake, you realize just how many calories you were eating. This is a common trait that I see all the time. People have a false understanding of really how many calories they're eating on a day-to-day basis. So just tracking alone increases this awareness and makes you realize just how many calories you're actually eating before. And this measurement alone will improve consistency. So how do you go about doing this? If you're not already tracking your calories and macronutrients, what I'd suggest you do is find a online calorie calculator, and this will ask you to type in your various details and it will spit out some daily calorie and macronutrient targets. Now keep in mind that these are not 100% accurate. These have their limitations. However, the goal of these calculators is really to give you a starting point to work from. That is the key to nutrition. You're putting something in place, you're measuring your progress, and then you're making changes subject to these results. Therefore, they're not 100% accurate, but it doesn't matter because you're going to put something in place, measure progress, and then make changes when needed. The other option is you could also download my free ebook on my website where I teach you how to set up a nutrition plan. I also teach you how to make changes when required. If you go to jameslaytonfitness.co.uk, LAYTON you can download that immediately. Once you have these daily totals, I would suggest then using my Fitness Pal, which is a free app you can get on your phone, and this allows you to plug foods into my Fitness Pal as the day goes along, and therefore this makes tracking your food intake really effortless. So overall, I think you can hopefully see the benefits of tracking your food intake. You see the benefits in terms of your results, i.e. building muscle, losing fat, but also the nuances within that, being able to interchange food, this increased awareness of how calorically dense foods are, this increased awareness of perhaps how many calories you're eating previously compared to now. So hopefully you've really found this useful, and if you're not already tracking your food intake, I would start doing that immediately. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll look forward to speaking to you next week. Take care.